All right.
Go live now. There we go. It's been hit.
The go live button, you say?
Yes, indeed.
You know, I will be honest. The amount of times.
Ooh, that's the wrong thumbnail.
Oh, it is. I was mid changing when we started talking.
Oh.
I got distracted by, talking to my good friend Stuart. There you go. Yes, no, I was saying, I did that solo live recently, and I spent a good number of minutes talking to myself because I forgot there's 2 live buttons because you're in charge of the second one.
Yes.
And it's like, still not live. That was 4 minutes of my life that I can't get back.
Oh well.
It's just because you can't get the energy back once you've been talking to the air for 4 minutes, thinking of bouncy. It's just so you realize how.
That's why I get so bummed out when I say something really great, and then you're like, "What, Stuart?" It's like, "Fuck's sakes, I want to say it again because it doesn't have the same energy or vibe."
But whatever. But it's just you're very much appreciated in that, Stuart, because I need my man to do that.
Yes.
Those 2 buttons. Hard to forget. Hard to remember. Yes, indeed. Yes, welcome back. I've done a lot of things since the last one. We had the big Convergence shoot, which was a 4-day extravaganza, dealing with all the many actors of all my Trek shorts all in one go. Wow. It got more and more tiring as you went on. Luckily / well prepared, we'd done all of our stuff on Thursday, boom, out of the way, and then just it feels like I've lived 2 or 3 weeks in between. So I'm happy to be here, but it feels like I haven't been here for a very long time. That is not true by any means, but it feels that way, Stuart. But it's good to see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We got a good episode to talk about.
Yeah.
So excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I'm both sad there's only 3 more, but also confused because what's next? Or are they going to finally give us a break after like 40 weeks of constant Trek? Because last time they announced 4 shows in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense Prodigy, but even the Prodigy people don't know. Arguably, 4 weeks away is still a decent amount of time. I would love it if it was Prodigy next though. Because that cliffhanger, Admiral Janeway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting excited about the shows. I said I want a break and I want to see Prodigy. Damn it, you Trek, give me so much stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So.
Yes. Hi.
Want to share?
Yes, I do.
Go share. All right, guys. Super chats are great. We already have 2 in there, which we will read once Santa gets back here. But yeah, please, by all means, if you're able to super chat, do so. Also, hit that like button. 48 people here with 28 likes. We can do better than that. People, if you haven't hit like. We'd appreciate it. Also, the join button down there if you want to join the channel, we'd also appreciate that as well. It helps us, it helps the channel, helps the algorithm, helps everything. So please consider hitting the join button and at least looking at the options for a monthly support system for us. Or you can head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. It's another way to do it as well. Don't forget that there's links down below to Eagle Moss and Teespring, TeePublic. Got a new TeePublic shirt. It's been out for like 3 weeks now. 2 weeks, which is the Trekyards Starship Research Division shirt. So check that out if you're interested. Yeah, lots of ways to support and help. So if you're able to, we'd really appreciate it. And we do need the support. So anything you can do is a big deal. So, but hitting that like is the easiest way. Also sharing our content if you feel the need for speed. Or if you want to go back and watch any of our edited videos or any of the ones coming out this weekend, by all means do so. And there is a super thanks button as well, which is like a super chat, but for non-live videos. So those all help out. And this weekend on Saturday, we are doing a Trekyards live. So we will be on for quite a few hours in the afternoon. And you guys get to super chat to basically see how drunk you can get us. So it should be fun. But yeah. Lots of great ways to support and help us out. So please do. And also just have a conversation in the chat. We really appreciate that as well. You guys are awesome. Great community. A lot of regulars, which is awesome. So you guys help us go, and we appreciate that. So we really need your help and love your help and love your support. So thank you for showing up for these. Much appreciated.
Facebook crashed. Gotta restart the play sharing.
You gotta restart it. Why?
Facebook crashed. Gotta restart the sharing.
Oh, gotcha. Erg. So he's got to go do that again. But you already got my spiel, guys. So
maybe do a poll.
You want me to do a poll? Okay. Let's see here. Let's get the options ready here. New. Okay. And hard to word sometimes. There we go. Sorry about this, guys. We'll get this sorted here. So let's see. Goodness gracious me. All right. Copy.
Okay, despite the crashing, we're all good. We're all good.
Perfect.
Hello.
Hello. All right, the poll will be up in just a second here.
And yes, vote in that poll, because we do literally... There's a great conversations, great stuff to have. And yes, Super Chat, we're very low this month because we've been busy, so we want to get 1.5 times our minimum. So throw in some fives and let's know what you think right now.
Already got a few to start out with. Let's get to those. Friday puts in £5 and says, really fun episode. Strange New Worlds is 7 for 7. Best Trek Season 1? No, the answer is no. TOS is. Just an FYI, Angel is they, not she. I noticed in the dialogue. Just a tiny detail I appreciate.
Thanks, Super Chat.
Christian Montgomery, $2. At work, here's 2 bits for Trekyards Booty Chest. Thank you so much. We do love our booty in more ways than one. Andre Benson, $5. I thought this was a very good episode. My one issue, those pirates took over the Enterprise pretty quickly. They did. We'll talk about that at some point. And Sean O'Sullivan puts in €2.
Thanks.
Incredibly unbroken sentence, moving from topic to topic, so no one can interrupt. It was really quite hypnotic. Yes.
Right.
Words
and things. Okay, excellent. And your poll is, because we tend to read the opposite, are you excited? A certain Vulcan has returned, and do you want to see more of him? Definitely want to see more. Or no, don't want to see him return. Well, there you go. Vote now.
And Sylvia G is here, and she says, Captain Foley, you're my favorite. Lovey eyes. So
slightly biased, but only a little bit. Just because she's mostly rational, so take that with a pinch of salt. You're probably good then. So Stuart, now you've watched this a couple of times. I know your first review, obviously, because we did that together. What do you think now you've gone through it a bit more?
I still really like it a lot. I really love the villain this week. I think he was great, but I'm looking forward to having her return because it's kind of like the Harry Mudd, I guess.
I said that.
Yeah, you did, and I agree. Like, it's going to be a thing. So's this particular Vulcan we're talking about. Hopefully, he will be a thing as well, and could really add a lot to the story, and even retroactively, as you said in the review, make Star Trek V look a lot better. So, or at least the character, anyway. Other than that, I mean, yes, there were some issues. There was no Hammer. There was no Uhura. I completely didn't gauge the fact that Uhura wasn't in it until someone mentioned it last night on my first reaction.
And I didn't either in any of the viewings.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know what that says about Uhura, but honestly, it goes back to the TOS trope. Sometimes certain characters just weren't in an episode. They weren't even mentioned. They weren't seen. It's just the way it is. And if they're doing a TOS format, I kind of buy it. It's cool. They're not always super important, so.
And you need to, with only so much screen time, you need to inch out other characters to give other characters more. That's fine. That's good. They've swapped between them.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I would say this is the only true Spock episode. First one had a good bit, but this is like I was waiting for a Spock episode to kind of give him some justification. Not, but I give him an oomph. This is really his oomph episode, which I was like, yes, 7 That's okay.
Yeah, Spock, Chapel, Pike, they were all fantastic in this episode. Still loving Ortigas, and even the small part that Mbanga had, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you need me to recheck this? No, it's fine.
and Pike was still his regular, secondary character role when he's not the primary, but they give him so much good material in his small scenes that he feels important, even though he's as important as one of the secondaries, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So there's lots of love here. Sure, we got 2 new ships. They're nothing really super great to talk about, but they're new ships, kind of generic.
Yeah, I have nothing to say whatsoever on them. There's nothing to say. Honestly, the one they want. Okay, the only thing I will say is the one that warps in at the end, the main ship, looks like the Union freighter from Orville. It's almost the same vibe. So
nice.
So
so there's a few little issues here and there, which we'll get into, but honestly, as a whole, this was a pretty fun episode, and I loved the kind of lightheartedness yet seriousness of it. It was a good blend. We've had like really serious ones, we've had really lighthearted ones. This is kind of a nice mixture of the two, and again, it very much has like the Harry Mudd type episode going on, so no complaints there. So overall, I really liked it and still do. So how about you?
I think it was slightly better on second viewing because you weren't wondering what's going to happen. However, there's no subtext in this new antagonist's performance to imply the turn. There's not like it. They're playing it straight, so there's no inclination. Other episodes, you're kind of wondering, is there going to be hints? But they're selling it, so therefore, it's not there, which I'm fine with. The twist is good enough by itself. I think we'll see how the score's at the end, but it feels like it has more of a distinct identity compared to other ones a bit more. Yes, the villain was a little bit cliche at the end, but only a smidge. More just they're having fun with it, versus but it's that fine line, other villains that all the time, it's a trope, isn't it? But the fact that you got the Cybok connection really grounds it. The fact that you got, again, T'Pring, doing so good in the season, just not stealing the show, but really making a mark. The Ston reference was a heart stab, a gentle heart stab, was very clever. And also, I did guess the Cybok revelation about halfway through. Now, obviously, things, you've had this before as well. Something just crops up in your brain, and boom, that happens to be it. So I'm not going to take credit for being, wow, I thought it, but I had a sneaky suspicion, like, well, wouldn't that be cool if this time happened to be true? So I was quite satisfied about that. But the first time, I'm waiting for him to be revealed at any point, either be physically seen or a big scene at the end. Second time, you just know it's just there at the end. I think 2 things stood out to me more in the second time that are less good, because first of all, Takeover Enterprise is completely waved over. If this is the flagship, which it isn't, like they all say it is, the security should be the best security in the fleet. There's no chance these random mercenaries can take out Enterprise security trying their hardest. Also, if we're to believe the scans, there's only going to be a couple of, 2 dozen, 3 dozen of these people. There's like 100 security, and everyone has access to a phaser, so there's really they didn't explain in any way why they could take over Enterprise. Kind of like the Orville last week, there's no reason why the crews disappeared, so that was definitely a problem, because it's so waved over, it's kind of insane. Feels as if there's going to be 20 people on the ship. So that was very, very badly done, but you kind of move past it. And the second was and these are the only things that really are bad, I think. The second one is that they explicitly talk about the distances that communicating over distances 2 days, which is faster than warp, because it just is. And yet Pring got to the edge of Federation space within an hour, half an hour. Completely unrealistic, unachievable. And yet they've already established the 2 days for the other thing. So they set up a great rule, then broke it. And I know it keeps the pace going, but Spock wasn't held on the bridge for 2 days. If they were, they'd have been on. You know what I mean? Completely destroyed the episode in terms of pacing and scale in two ways. But everything else is so strong, but they really, really, really shortchange the audience in those two big ways.
Yeah. Sean O'Sullivan, €2.
Thank you.
Don't Cybok block. Sarcastic Vulcan salute. And Snoopy McQueen, $5. Ethan Peck has brought a lot of new depth to the character. I like him. He's now my favorite Strange New Worlds character.
Ooh.
Nice.
I mean, I'm at least thrilled he's not playing just a young Spock. You know, or even the Cage Spock. He's doing his own thing. I think he's more just playing the lines as they come. Like, I don't think he's doing them how Nimoy would do them. And I don't think he's playing a contrived young Spock. He's just sort of being a character called Spock. Does that make sense? Or do you think he's channeling one in particular? So I kind of think he's just being rather than...
Oh, yeah, I don't think he's channeling anything in particular.
Okay.
But it's
working.
He's doing a good job, yeah.
I wouldn't say he's doing an outstanding job, but the when the scale is at a 9.5 already, it's kind of hard to, you know. But he's doing a good job with everything. I just need to see more of him. But yeah, good episode, and I'm very happy to get this level. Although I'm sad there's only 3 left, obviously.
We start off on the Ankashtan Katil Vulcan Criminal Rehabilitation Center, which is on the 3rd moon of Omicron Lyrae. So it's not Vulcan, but still probably very close to Vulcan.
Yes. Yeah, they're not going to put their prison colony on the outskirts of Federation space. And if they are, the coincidence of being on the Vulcan side of Federation space is unlikely. But I love how it's a prison, but also just like a painting retreat. Like the way it feels is just so nice and so Vulcan-y still.
Rehabilitation center, yeah.
Yeah. It's all peaceful and nice, and yeah, I like it. It was a good setup. I mean, very, very heavy on the LED wall. Like, the line between what's obviously the wall and not is super obvious in this set of sequences. Like, it's nice, but it's like you can't get more blatant than just a wall behind her. You know what I mean? Like, you can always tell none of that foliage is real, because why would they waste the money in foliage if it's a single shot in close-up? But it does feel like there's her and there's digital background. And even because it's not really 3D, all of the planes of the background are all one dimension on the shot I've got on the screen. Whereas normally in green screen with the digital background, the items would feel more depth because they'd be in a real 3D scene. Here, if they're not, they're a 3D scene projected onto a 2D scene. And so this sort of shot is just very, 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 very flat, which it wouldn't be. So, you know, there are limitations. Whereas the close-up, you can't tell, which is obviously what they're more designed for. Still looks nice, just very what it is. It's not hiding its seams.
Yeah. Eric Martin throws in $10. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
I super chatted on the earlier video, not realizing it wasn't live. My bad. So round 2.
Wow.
Yeah, but then you
help the channel
because that was a premiere. I was there when you super chatted. I saw it.
Yeah.
So that still came through. Plus, if you're watching it after the fact when it's not premiering, you can use the super thanks button, and it doesn't take a few days or anything. That's instant as well. So, yeah.
And you know, Eric,
he commented that he thought it would take a few days for a super thanks, and that's not the case. It's exactly like a super chat. Comes through right away. So
it's different straight away, is what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, she's been doing research on human mating rituals to kind of spice things up and kind of catches Spock off his game a little bit.
Yes.
And he's like, I haven't heard of any of these books or read any of them, so maybe we should look at this stuff together. And she's like, oh, I thought the onus was on me because, you know, of this, you know, you're part human, so yeah. Fun little scene, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's super cute, and I have so much respect for T'Pring here, because in this world where she's being looked down upon for dating and betrothed to a half human, half Vulcan, and she's the one making the effort to say, well, we should look after the human side. That's amazing of her. That's really, really nice of her to take the initiative to do it for him, to balance him. This even feels like she's grown from episode 1, where she's kind of like, I mean, be here, don't be there. Now she's like, okay, I'll accept you being there, and I'll accept your human side. What a lass. Lots of Vulcans wouldn't do this. What a catch for Spock, and yeah, his reactions are wonderful. It kind of feels like they conference called whenever they could, as if he was just doing some very in-depth work reports, and then she's like, oh, hello, dear, sex. I was doing meteorological survey. Like Like, I like the juxtaposition here. And as I said in our review, Stuart, thank fucking Christ for no holograms. This scene would play so much worse in the thematics of the story if she'd appeared as a hologram next to him, sat down on his bed with him. It would entirely ruin the last scene with it to be together physically, because, let's be honest, if you can hologram with each other, phone sex becomes a lot more exciting.
Yeah.
So the flatness of this communication works so well and is so important, and it feels removed and relatable. Thank fucking Christ they've removed all holograms and all view screens. They haven't made a point of it, but it's all been gone. So excellent. It really enhances these scenes.
Yeah.
Or brings about what they should be.
Eric Martin puts in $5 and says, "Why does New Trek make such huge empty engine rooms? Seems odd."
Yes.
You say that, but we've never once seen the engine room on the Discovery, which I would buy this engine room as the Discovery engine room, honestly. But
that'd be a cool Discovery engine room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be 50% smaller. Well, minimally.
Yeah. Anyway, the next scene is Spock and Chapel, and Chapel's talking about the doctor, and Spock was not paying attention, and she calls him out on it. And, I'm not going to offer you any more advice because last time he kind of went overboard. He's like, I just need a friend. I need somebody to talk to.
His desperation is so wonderfully acted there. Vulcan desperation. It's great.
Yeah. It talks about T'Pring looking up human sexuality, and then basically she's like, it's fun to be friends with Vulcans because Vulcans are honest. So
yes, although as we know, Vulcans can lie if they think it's not lying.
Yeah.
Which I was wondering at the end if T'Pring's lying. I was listening for that, knowing that she knows it's lying, but she doesn't technically lie. God, the lines they have to weave on these.
Yeah. And then what's the lesson you learned, Spock? Pay more attention to me.
Yes.
He's like, yes, you're very charming. I'm completely missing it.
And I'm so torn on these two because clearly she physically fancies him.
Oh yeah.
As a physical thing, but
I think he's getting close to her too, because the way he talks to T'Pring at the end and the way he talks to Chapel at the end, where T'Pring's like, I knew you couldn't have feelings for her, the look on his face, and then when Chapel says, I knew you couldn't have feelings for me, again, the look on his face kind of betrays that he might be struggling a little bit with feelings.
But I was looking for it in this scene, though, and I didn't get any sense of Spock's feelings. Mm-hmm. He was so T'Pring focused, and this is the only scene of them early. Whereas I took it more as that kiss was so electric that he's never felt... Because, okay, this is kind of skipping to the end, but that kiss at the end...
Yeah.
I noted then the kiss with T'Pring. I was waiting for him to say, or her to say, wow, kiss me like you kiss Chapel, like some sort of joke about emotion, which I was kind of waiting for. Like, Vulcans don't kiss with emotion in the same way, so he's experiencing well, that was a good kiss, clearly with physical chemistry and, ooh, I'm into this, and he's like, damn, that's nice. It kind of awakens that little bit of, from potential sexual chemistry into, this is a feeling, physical feeling, which he's not used to feeling. But this scene is so removed from my fantasy, it's very one-sided, and even Friends just Chapel's flirty, so I was kind of surprised at the juxtaposition of later scenes to this one. Because if we're skipping right to they fancy each other, you haven't quite laid the groundwork. Like obviously we know they're not going to end up together.
Not on Spock's end, no.
But we know none of them are going to end up together, so it's also kind of fleeting, and that we know this is all just pining, if it is. And not Chris Pine, but emotional pining. But I was surprised how, in second viewing, Spock is not thinking this. She might be vaguely thinking, it's awkward, but I was surprised by the because Spock's a good guy, and I think he does genuinely fancy T'Pring. It's just, there's obligatory fancy versus, damn, you fine fancy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was my tirade about what I took from this.
I think something's going to happen between these two. They're going to get close, and then something's going to happen, and Spock's going to be way more logical about things and way less emotional, and that carries over to TOS, where he's got that shield up, and she's still kind of
Yes. Yeah. And Sturm says, so Nurse Chapel is a full commander yet? McCoy was Lieutenant Commander years later, what gives? No, she's not in Starfleet. Her rank pips are entirely decorative. She's a civilian. It's a pure mistake in the costume department. I guess they didn't want to give her no rank. But she has 0 rank. She's completely there as a civilian. It's very confusing and very silly. But wrong memo, I guess.
It would have been funny when she has her hands up and she's like, I'm just a doctor. Pirate said, yeah, but you got lieutenant's stripes. Liar.
I'm a civilian nurse. What about your rank? Sewed it on myself. Why?
the only uniform that fits.
I killed the previous nurse. Stab. Yeah.
George Mangrum, $5.
George!
Can we do a hashtag Team Chapel versus hashtag T'Pring poll?
Can I swap that, Stuart? That's a great idea.
Go for it. Yeah, that's good.
So your poll was, are you excited that certain Vulcans returned? That, of course, being... Spoilers? Cybok!
Or as the closed captioning on our previous video you released earlier today, and every time you said Cybok, it said Cyborg. So, Cyborg.
80% yes want to see him, which I think is a very good thing. I've been begging them to mention him since season 1, because theoretically, logically, Burnham and him and Spock all lived together for a bit in their family home when Burnham was young. That's according to Spock saying things in the past. So, yeah. Anyway.
Bring it. Yeah. Then we get introduced to Dr. I keep forgetting her name. I just know her as Captain Angel.
Just Angel. I mean, that's the real name, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Where she's saying that, talking about the colonists and them getting captured 26 days ago and all this, and how she basically was just out here to help people. She wished there was more Federation involvement out here, kind of thing. But yeah, and then the whole Starfleet's Boy Scout. They don't call me that. It's actually in your file, Chris. Come on, I'm not the Boy Scout. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, she talks about it's difficult getting people out here to help with this kind of stuff, considering it's not in Federation space. And even Pike makes the comparison to this sectors of the quadrant are very similar to the Wild Wild West, which wagon train to the stars. That's what TOS was, essentially, the Wild West frontier, basically. And that's funny because he was also in Hell on Wheels as Cullen Bohannon, so I thought that was a nice little touchstone. So
vote now, Stuart.
Ooh, so if we didn't know TOS, would you T'Pring or Chapel?
I'm gonna go vote in this poll because I actually I want my side to win, Stuart.
Chris Kmart won $5.
Thank you.
You think Chapel is now a combination of herself and Leela Kolomi? Oh yes, from This Side of Paradise. No, I don't think so. I wonder if she's gonna come into Strange New Worlds. Shit.
All these possibles. Yeah, and this dinner scene's interesting. They like giving us these home style Pike scenes. It's definitely a trope now in this show, how chill Pike is. And certainly in terms of look, this character is odd but interesting. It feels very civilian doctor-y. Good job on that. With a bit of a Loki vibe, with kind of the green and the gold. Honestly, I thought Loki, even that long hair. Loki! Female Loki, there you go.
I think she killed it for both the doctor and for the captain. She's not the kind of person that I think I would gravitate towards liking, but right away she wins me over with how she talks as the doctor, and later when she talks to Spock, and then as the bad guy. A lot of people say she can't pull off a good bad guy, but she can. She's just loosey-goosey with it and just having fun.
Well, in total control.
More natural.
I mean, you're going to be confident. There's nothing Spock can do. You've got 5 guns on him. Yeah, and I like that the two performances are very different as well. I was looking for one Angel character in this, but it's so under the belt. It's very, very straight, and I found that with the couple of Stranger Wars episodes, they don't leave hints. They just want you to be totally taken in, which vaguely undermines the reveal because it's so out of the water. But I'm listening to all the stories that they're giving, and I'm thinking, okay, is any of this true? Because no, but also maybe. That was a fun cluster F to kind of work out, but also the balance of how much of the scene do you actually show, because it's all wasted time in terms of the real story, and you can kind of tune out the second time because it's entirely meaningless. But the first time you're eating it in as information. It's a very different second watch.
Yeah, John McWise, personally, I thought some of her doctor advice to Spock was presumptuous. I thought so as well until she said, I know a couple of Vulcans, and then we find out later she was actually married to a Vulcan.
Dating Cybok,
yeah,
I think.
I thought the same thing at first, but quickly went away. And listen, Jericho, that's very judgmental. Face tattoos gave her away. Only a criminal would do that. Never once crossed my mind when I first watched it. This is the future, and
I mean, Chakotay, he was in Starfleet for like 35 years.
Well, he was a criminal. He was the Maquis.
I know. After 35 years of good service, Stuart. So I didn't. I mean, yes, it's certainly a vaguely criminal-like tattoo, but no, it's fine. Although the thing about the guest of the week is often a villain, but that's okay. And yeah, I think the Boy Scout, because Pike gets very little to do and yet meaningful to do. It's a very, very fine, well-trod line here. But the fact that he was made fun of this first scene, I believe, does genuinely mean that everything he does after this is just to show it wrong. So he's extra risky. Because why else would he do all the things he does except to prove people wrong? Which, yeah. It's weird of him, but I like it. And just like with every other show, we've said this before, he knows he can't die.
Yep.
So he's been thrown this, "We are too safe, Chris," to, okay, let's try something fresh. So I kind of like it in that respect, and if you're going to push that line just far enough to be fun, what do you think about
that? I guess. I think he knows kind of that he's thought of that way. I think his reaction here wasn't completely genuine, which is kind of a teasing kind of thing.
Although,
even her saying that it's in his file. I'm sure it's not in his file saying that.
Oh, I took that as the most deadpan thing she's ever said.
Well,
it's like, Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I don't read my own file, apparently.
Well, why would you? I mean...
Well, I mean, I check up on it every once in a while. Every now and then I'll Google myself. Come on now. Just saying. No, I don't know. It could be the case for sure, but I think he knows he's kind of seen as that. He's kind of a good guy. Oliver Lavery Farag throws in £5. In regards to your poll, I would like to quote Tony Stark. Is it too much to ask for both? I know, right? That
would be a scene. Or several scenes if the fans had their way. But
And Eric Martin, $5. So Cybok and Angel on first date. I couldn't help noticing your pain. Yes, indeed.
Now that would be some hell of a flashbacks.
And this is, you gotta keep in mind
first
too.
Relationship.
Yeah, gotta keep in mind too. This is 20. We found out 28 years before Star Trek V.
A long time.
He probably doesn't have the whole plan of shockery and knowing where to go and all that in his mind. He's got this vague idea of what he kind of wants to do. He's a very different Cybok, I'm sure, at this point. So.
Well, he's a pure criminal.
Yeah. Or
just doesn't like emotion.
Logic.
Yeah. It's such an interesting character. I'm so annoyed that we haven't gone into it. I really hope we get more, like properly more.
Yeah.
Because he's not that much older than Spock. I think like 10 years. It's obviously enough, but yeah. Who is Cybok before he becomes a radical religious cult who generally does find center of the galaxy, God being who's not God? What is his point? And why does he fancy this angel person? Cool.
I can see why he fancies her, honestly. But anyway,
I'd like to see some flashbacks. That would be a hell of a connection. Sure. I do think that was genuine. Because I don't think, again, skipping more to the end, there's so much good stuff here to talk about. Cybok talked about a lot to you, which means that was pre-prison, and you're not going to bring up your brother often, except in certain situations.
Yeah.
So that implies a long-term relationship of some kind, or at least partnering on the ship to talk about while they get drunk or something. So that by itself, I don't get the sense he was ever obsessed with Spock.
No, it was probably a whole discussion of like, so you're the disappointment in your family then, I assume. And he's like, yeah, no, my half-brother Spock, my dad wanted him to join the Starfleet or the Vulcan Science Academy. He decided to go to Starfleet instead. So I don't know.
And I thought I was a disappointment, but
exactly. I'm sure a conversation like that might have come
while in prison.
She would have asked for more information on Spock, but yeah.
Super interesting. I think I've got a great baseline here.
Yeah, but here we hear about the.
Hold on, listen, Jericho. Shatner should direct the Cybok episode. Yes, Shatner to direct Cybok again. Shatner, you're 91. Go direct a Stranger Worlds episode. Direct Spock again. Rock monsters are back. I finally could do them after 40 years.
Yeah, they'd be able to now. No, in this conversation, we get the talk about the Serene Squall basically attacking ships along in this area of space, and the pirates are very, very close as far as raiding and being pirates. And we also find out that this doctor was once a counselor on Starbase 12, but then left because she realized that people needed help that weren't under Federation rule.
But we learned later on there was already a counselor, so this person took the persona. Yes. So how much of that is real, how much is not, doesn't matter. Don't even know. Pretty interesting.
Yep.
Now I was wondering about the pirate thing, because if you're out of Federation space is pretty big. So to stay out of it, you have to go on the outer edge. Who are you pirating? There's a lot of, if you're not going to go into Federation space, there's a lot of pirating. There's a lot of space in between.
Oh, we don't know whose space this is. This could be.
Well, it's close enough to Klingon to be reachable.
Yeah.
It's a bit confusing.
Well, it's close enough to everything, apparently.
Yeah. It's in Tholian space, close to Klingon. But I was wondering how, again, rewatching how much of the inflection of all my crew, none of it. Not a single moment, completely dedicated to the performance. It's very surprising. But it's a good thing.
$2. Why does God need a starship? Well, what does God need with a starship? It's not really a question at this point. More like, what does Cybok need with a starship?
No, the question is, what does Angel do with the starship? And the answer is just to get Spock. I mean, it's actually really easy this time.
Yeah.
But
listen, Jericho, I thought the same thing. So there's no image of this counselor in the computer. I would assume she would have changed the file to have her photo.
Smart enough to do
Every time anybody pulls up a personnel file in Star Trek, there's always a photo. And then
well, name, it would be, we've got a person who wants to come on board. Who is it? Pad. That person. Okay. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
And Jose, we talked about that. We'll get there as well. That's one of the issues with this episode that we all kind of have.
Yes.
But
they drop
anyway,
out.
They get called.
Yeah.
They get called to the bridge to see the damage, the destruction,
full debris.
The debris of the colonist ship. Ship signatures match 2 of the 3 colonial vessels. So apparently there were 3.
Yes.
And that unidentified warp signature. So.
But also means in theory they're to steal 3 ships, blow up 2, kill the crews.
Yeah.
And the 3rd ship was actually the pirate ship, so working out how much of this was best laid plan, because they'd have to steal ships of civilian, not like any known species. Unknown species, but whatever.
And here they talk about the fact that slavery is looked down on in the Federation, obviously, but out here not so much. And Pike's like, I hope that's not the case. They're not selling the crew or the colonists. So
and I think it was all. No, Lan has the most underplayed line. It's like, I really disapprove of slavery, or something like ilk. It's like, yep.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yep. But that's the thing, though. They aren't the arbiters of justice everywhere else. So, of course, that's why people want to be part of the Federation, because it's outlawed. That's why it's a culmination of people's good intentions. That's good. But Pike goes against regulations, goes past Federation space into the unknown, which theoretically is honest as space.
Well, this is also where they say it's going to be 2 days because there's no subspace relays out here. So they're going to drop relays as they go to not increase the distance for the communications. But he decides to go before hearing word back from Starfleet,
Yes, which is great. That's very TOS of them. And in actually the first time actually had distance, because in Discovery, if you recall, Burnham had a real-time hologram with Sarek from the absolute edge of Federation space in real time with Vulcan, which is just impossible. So they've kind of retconned that out again. And this ship is, you would assume, more advanced than Discovery at that point. It's been refitted since. So that is now retconned out as a concept, again, thankfully, which doubles down on when Kirk goes out, because these things are all still canon. So when Kirk goes out and tries to communicate with Federation, it's 2 weeks, because he's actually exploring. He's actually out on the unknown. These are not out on the unknown. They're in Federation space. So I do like we've finally given that depth again. It's undermined by the communications later on, but it's good here. Very important. And the buoy comes out of the aft airlock, which is between the torpedo launchers. Finally used in the distance and out of focus, but it is used. Yay!
Yeah. Then we get the scene with the music blaring out of the quarters, and my first thought was it's going to be Ortigas. I can see Ortigas listening to music like this loud in her quarters, but no, it is actually Angel. So, I know Spock's just here to pick her up to take her to the bridge, and they have a discussion in the turbo lift about. Well, first of all, she has asked him to help put on her necklace, which is important later. But yeah, they're talking about self-blame and stuff, and she talks about him having Kolinar to purge all emotion, and he's surprised that she's familiar with the ritual. So this is the first time she says she's worked with Vulcans before.
And doubling down on, I was at the academy, I used to club to relieve stress.
Yes.
It's some odd lines, but it's meant to be odd. And, it's showing the necklace, making sure that's in the audience's mind straight from the get-go. It's good. And we do get another nod to Spock turning the pod to activate the turbo lift. It's there, even if infrequent, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine maybe, as later officers need to hold it as a safety blanket, sort of, I'll just keep hold of it. But it's a good little scene. It's a good-looking turbo lift. And Stuart, we're 7 in. No turbolift roller coasters.
Good.
No turbolift roller coasters. No view screen. No holograms.
No open shuttle bays.
No shuttle bay at all. So they've made some good decisions there. So far.
Yeah. Anyway, they've located a distress signal. They decide to get in close to see what's going on. And I love Ortiga. She's like, how close you want me to get? First date? Third date? And Pike's like, how about blind date? Which I thought was hilarious. So proceeding with caution, sir. No, I really like Ortigas. I want to see an episode about her specifically. But anyway.
Yeah, she's the one-liner of the season, and I think next week's her episode, because that's the medieval one, so I think that'll finally... And in theory, if she's given a full episode, like almost the entire plot is her, it kind of bounces a bit, given that she's in every episode, I believe, whereas other people aren't always, so I guess you could argue the variety of... But she might be in like the last 3 or something. I was a bit confused why they didn't get a warp at any point in this episode, implying that the entire plan was 45 seconds out of the border, which seems odd to me. Like, I wanted a warp sequence. Like, just...
Yeah.
They may have done it, but the distance felt a bit odd in this. Or lack thereof. Yes, then...
Ozzy.
Oh, then Ozzy.
$2. I'm going to say kaboom. Yes. Because this is the booby trap moment.
Yes.
With the laser net.
Not a Tholian web, a laser net.
Yes.
Carefully not said, but clearly Tholian. Tholian trap to screw over people who go into their space. It's, I'm hoping, a foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Or just a fun callback. It's just there to tell the audience Spock's indecision and the fact that Angel can react to a situation that, again, make them feel like they're not in control because this is not their plan. So it's sort of meaningless in the grand scheme of the episode, but it still works. Although in this scene it was odd to see number 1 in the tactical station, given she's not tactical, and see La'an not at the tactical station firing phasers. Like, number 1 hasn't got a station necessarily, but La'an wasn't tactical earlier, so I don't know why they were changed. It doesn't seem to be a reason, and it felt odd because that's not her station. I don't know.
Yeah, that station's very questionable these days. But oh well. Yes, the plan is to destroy one of the asteroids. I think they know which one, so it doesn't close in on them or blow up. And all of a sudden another one pops up, so Pike's like, belay that order, and then ask Spock to choose or go on a hunch. And Spock picks one, and it turns out to be the right one. But he was very upset about having to essentially guess.
Which I wasn't sure how they're going to play that, because it could have been a whole fun plot line of it going wrong or going right. At least the caveat being it goes right because, or they find an easy solution just because it's an inferior version. Every ship will have the same power level, so at least it's not a problem with the web. It's a problem with the mechanism of the web, and the Enterprise have advanced sensors, so a normal ship isn't going to pick up on these, whereas the Enterprise should. So I thought it was a reasonable way out. Even though it feels a bit easy, it does make sense. So, yeah.
Mm. Then we get the scene where she goes to talk to Spock. He's analyzing information on the Serene Squall, and she basically says, you almost had a heart attack there when he asked you to guess. And they have a whole conversation about genetics versus geography as far as being Vulcan or human. And I really liked this scene. Like, she really sold it for me that she was a counselor at one point, honestly, with the way she talks.
I forgot about that entirely.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me.
Because she talks about people putting their feelings and things in boxes, and you're either this or you're that. Like, it was a really good counselor conversation. And then she says, all I'm saying is you may be neither. You may not be Vulcan, you might not be human. You're your own person, essentially. And trust me, I've known some Vulcans in my days. I've just known a few Vulcans is all, she says. And then at the end she says, don't bother analyzing that stuff. Yeah. Because that trap wasn't sent by the Serene Squall.
So with such confidence.
If it had been, we'd be dead already. Exactly. Which makes us think that it's probably Tholian space, and it's a Tholian booby trap. So I like that. But there's still no clear answers. It could be it was set by her. She knew how to get out of it should the need arise. But
oh no, I think the way Angel has that caveat, then it's like, no, it wasn't part of the plan. Focus on the plan that I'm putting you into. Don't change your brain. So I like that. It's such confidence. Yes, this is a good scene for sure. Although it is very odd though when we know Spock's journey to go right to the deep end and have to talk about you aren't one box, you're not either, you're both. It's like we know that journey entirely, so it feels very sort of backtracky here. Because we're like, yes, Spock, we like from 10 years from now you know that, 20 years from now you know that. Although it seems odd they'd have to be told that. It's like you are an amalgam of whoever you are.
You're a hybrid.
You're both.
Yeah,
It seems odd that his logical mind would not let him know I am both.
Which means you have to find your own way of doing things. You can't one side or the other. Yeah.
You'd think it'd be self-evident, and you wouldn't need this explanation. It's a well-said speech.
Yes.
But it's, for someone who knows Spock so well, us the audience, it's a little bit redundant. But also it can be a case of you just need a cold, hard, wet slap sometimes with the obvious truth. But I think the setup to this, in this season in particular, of him fighting his two sides has been entirely underplayed. He's been Vulcan the entire time. There's been no, my human side has been fighting me, really. That's been super low to the ground. And so to have this son like, well, which side are you? It's like, well, you're both, Spock. There's no question of both.
Oh,
like, it's not even a question, you know?
It played both ways, though, because she also talked about her duplicity of being the captain of the pirate vessel and this doctor. So it's kind of...
I can be nice, I can be killer.
Exactly.
Hey,
yeah.
Nicely played. Didn't think of that.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, we know Zor, but it's the show that's important in this context. But it's a good scene. And it was I did think, though, at this point, the costume's a little bit more dark than the character would need. So I was put on guard in this scene. And, skin tight, leather-esque, latex-esque. It's like, that eye tattoo is a bit more dodgy now in context.
I got the exact opposite.
You thought just what a counselor would wear. Tight latex.
No, not necessarily, but I was enjoying what she was wearing. But, it was also just the whole speech she gave felt very much like she had counseling experience.
Even the body language got stuck on her.
Yeah, and the way it was delivered, fantastic acting. Like, it was a good scene, and it really made me like the character a lot more. So,
but also you can triple down in that she's also had the same conversation with Cybok, who's also prepped Angel on Spock. So that's why they've got so much connection, because obviously Cybok's given the full briefing, and so the buttons being pressed are very specific. But also, you would imagine that Cybok has had a similar life experience, not so much literally two sides of biology, but two sides of personality. I don't want to be emotionless Vulcan like Surak. I want to be myself, who's a Vulcan with emotion. So it's the same thing, just different. And I like what Angel said about the geography of it, because it's like with religion. If you're born in one part of the world, you're gonna most likely be one religion. If you're the other part.
Yeah.
It's not what you believe; it's where you're born most of the time.
It's the whole nature versus nurture discussion. Yeah. Are you born that way, or is it how you were raised?
Well, and it doubles down as well, because Michael Burnham was born on Earth, lived on Vulcan, was trained to be more Vulcan-y. It broke her personality. If Spock had been born, if lived on Earth, would have had a much more human upbringing. Would have broken him as well to be too human-y. But because of where they lived, yeah, it's a good scene, and you definitely get, I think in this scene especially, how important this character really is. The shift is starting to shift to, oh, this isn't just a not throwaway but a bit part character, but it's good stuff.
And we get Ortega's flying manually, which she enjoys doing.
There's a lot of stress.
Like a third date, which goes back to the earlier conversation, which was a nice little touch.
I don't think it's that hard to manually fly a ship, but
that's through asteroids and stuff. With no
yeah,
maps
that's Although that's what they do every day, exploring unknown space. That's sort of their job. I mean, doesn't that imply though that Sulu's the best pilot ever? Because every single day he pilots out of Federation space almost. And like Tom Paris, I mean, he's flying every scene. But I mean, Tom Paris much better pilot than Ortega's, clearly.
Yeah, Pike does say steering without mapping relays is no easy task. So I guess there's mapping relays all over Federation space that just map everything. Even unknown space doesn't make sense.
Which means you can also autopilot.
Yeah.
So they bump into the ship, which looks like a Mass Effect ship.
200 life signs in the cargo hold and 30 other ones. So they assume that the colonists are all in the cargo hold and the rest are pirates.
I found this a little bit odd, though. They say explicitly, let's beam over before they detect us, so we're not out of their scanning range. Do you know how close you've got to be to see them at that scale?
Mm-hmm. They're very close.
They're very, very... I mean, they're shuttle distance. This was an unbelievable moment as well. You need a view screen moment where you're very far away. You warp out and zoom in. This is silly. This is extremely silly. And the fact that the ship makes no real impact design-wise, be far out, do a zoom in. So this was also a just illogical moment. But, yeah.
Then gearing up and getting ready for the transport. And I love Uhura's like, ooh, unauthorized trips into non-Federation space.
Wait, Uhura?
Or, sorry, Una.
Okay, I was like, where is she? I was excited for a second.
No. Heading up away missions. Someone's playing fast and loose with the rules today. He's like, who, me? The Boy Scout. Yeah.
Yep. Beautiful. But guys, we are less than half of our minimum on Super Chat, so keep those 5s coming, or even a few 10s and 20s, or even a 50. Hey, who the hell knows? Anything helps, would be appreciated. And let us know what you think. Vote in the poll right now. We're currently at 90 votes. We want to at least 100 in the poll, and click like on the video as well. Like I said, minimum is over double what we're at here, so throw in for a few more 5s and we'll get to our halfway. Thanks in advance.
And hit like. We're at 107 viewers and 71 likes. Let's try to get up to 100, guys. If you have not hit that like button, just give it a little hit right now. We'd appreciate that. And don't forget the poll. We're at 90 votes. We usually look for around 100 or so. So if you haven't voted in the poll yet, go take the poll up. Help us out.
So they beam into clearly a real warehouse.
With concrete walls. Must be Kelvinver's ship.
And very classic girders. Very, very bad set design into the close-ups. I mean, they just found a place, didn't they?
This felt so Discovery. Even the lighting behind the cave, behind the cell, just felt like Discovery, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, there are ways to do sci-fi girders, but there is no reason to have concrete inside a ship. Zero. And you're right.
And water on the floor.
Yeah, it's a very... I get they're saving money, but it was a shitty decision. Luckily, the second set of stuff, it feels better. This is just a set, but this was a shitty thing to do to beam into this pit. It broke me instantly from the scene. It just felt... I mean, yeah, it was shit. Total shit.
I zoned out for a second and thought they were on a planet.
Yeah.
Or one of the asteroid, like something. But it didn't feel like a ship at all.
Total shit. But luckily, it brought me right back in with finally beep, 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 transponder. Awesome. Although to have a successful micro emitter that can fool the Enterprise's scanners, that's pretty advanced tech. I'm just saying, that's like, you'd think they do a detailed scan. That's pretty advanced stuff there.
But Nurse Chapel's wandering around and she sees the guys running through the hallway, so she climbs up the Jeffries tube, and I gotta say the Jeffries tube looks fantastic. Thank you for the TOS Jeffries tube. Much appreciated.
I just want more pipes from the rest of the ship because they're sorely missing. Now this is another spot of okay, just dip in quality to like a lower than 5, because they said in the earlier scene there's 30 sensors plus the 200 sensors readings, and I don't get the sense that's a lie so much as the 30. So if there's 30 people, 30 versus at least 50 tactical officers minimum on Enterprise. You probably have a few more than that.
Well, see, the thing is, they do make a point of saying that they beamed aboard at the same time they were beaming over to the other ship.
Yeah.
So they didn't know about it right away.
Sure.
Yes, they get notified. Spock tells it, Una. But yes, there should have been more security personnel, for sure. There should have been more of a battle going on.
I mean, it would be great if they'd beamed into, like, the engine room, auxiliary control, and the bridge, and, like, took control of those areas and locked everything else. But the way they play it, they successfully take out the entire crew, which is not practical or even possible. These guys aren't that well trained. Any Starfleet officer should be more well trained, even the nurses. As we see, Nurse Chapel, a non-Starfleet officer with no Starfleet training, is able to take out like 6 or like 4. So very, very poor set of scenes here. You need one cutaway of these 3 guys running through the halls, just shooting everybody. It's just like a massacre feeling scene, but clearly on stun. This is very, very, very poorly done, especially as in cuts to the bridge. Oh no, cuts to bloody alarm being like,
yeah,
I have a bad feeling about this. And it's like, what, the 200 people that aren't really here, you idiot? What a stupid line is that? And then they get caught by a good number of people. That's a fair number, but if that's 12 out of the 30, 20 people ain't taking over the Enterprise. And just, they're trying hard here, but it's failing miserably as a little fight in terms of just scale and complexity and... it shouldn't be that hard, Stuart. They're more well trained, and there's...
Yep, it's a bit of a problem. It's another problem I have with the episode for sure.
It lets itself down harder.
Then they breach the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, then they breach the bridge, and they do lockdowns of the systems. That's fine. They pull out phasers from weird places.
Yep, under console holsters, which looks super out of a modern action film.
Yeah. And then Angel gets shot on the way to the turbo lift, which you got to think, was that intentional, or was that a mistake on the one guy's part? And she's like making sure she knows his face so she can give him shit later. But added to the realism for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean that I think as the audience tells you, they're not working together. Not that you would think that, but it's another clever addition. Although the fact that I did notice this later on, they walk up Jeffries tube and they're not even hurting, shows it's on the lowest stun possible, because that is a burn on the shoulder. The muscles would hurt. But I don't know if you noticed this, Stuart, but they specifically had a continuity error in the sequence where they cut between...
I noticed it after you said it when I watched it again.
They cut between shots where in some of the angles in this multi-camera, multi-take battle, the hand faces are all set to kill. In some of the shots are all set to stun. Most of the time they're set to kill though. And later on as well, they're always set to kill, except that one time the Angel shoots Spock. So for some reason, this is the Starfleet that shoot to kill first time round, which is very anti-Starfleet. This happened in other episodes as well. The default is kill, when a Starfleet phaser would never be set on kill, unless they want to kill somebody. There's no reason for the kill to be the option of standard, and it was a big letdown to watch this always be on red. Guys, and it's even more confusing when Angel shoots Spock. It's a red bolt from a blue stun setting, which tells you that you can't even tell what's what, stun versus kill. It's just all red bolts. So they let themselves down with that. Starfleet should always be on blue, with red be the epic moment. I mean, come on, I will honestly look down on number 1 for trying to murder these people. How are you going to learn about them? Like, stop murdering these people. Like, they're not killing you, they're on stun. Really big letdown there, guys. Stop having them on kill. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Spock and Angel get away. At deck 4. So.
And a Vulcan neck pinch battle, which is fun.
Yeah, he really kicks some ass, doesn't he? Smashes a guy into a console. And
yep.
Then we meet Remy, who's the Orion captain. I gotta say, I love this character. Very Orion and very piratey, so good job with him. Kind of reminded me of a Viking a lot as well. But
yeah, oh yeah. But, I was wondering though, is it a real beard? Because painting green under a beard hair, that's gonna suck. Yeah, great look, and I kind of hope they come back because it's quite an effective character for not really being menacing per se, just textural as a character. Because not the captain. Maybe not even second in command. Maybe the chef. Because why the hell is the... I thought that early on. Why the hell is the chef cooking for the team? Because he's not the captain. So,
yeah.
There's fun context there, which I like.
Yeah.
And
anyway,
homoerotic subtext. He keeps saying Pike's hot. He keeps complimenting Pike's physical appearance. And I am all for that. I think that was a fun like note of like, yeah, I could hate him, but he's pretty freaking hot, guys. Don't you agree? I was like... I'd bang him if he wasn't my prisoner. Sir!
Well,
I like that. That's kind of fun.
First we see Spock and Angel head up the Jeffries tube. And, yep.
Oh,
good stuff.
With
see Una captured, and Una's kind of gives him the, like, don't do anything right now kind of look.
Yes, the extremely awkward. Let's pause in the middle of this corridor. Why? Shut up. Okay, look to your left. Okay, now we're going. It's so awkward this moment. So awkward. It added nothing except showing there are crew, but if you need this many people of their officers to try and attack these, how many people do you have on the entire ship then? Because if you need 6 for every 6, you need to have 200 people on the ship. You don't have.
I can believe that they got control of some systems and locked some stuff down, but at the same time I can't because I instantly locked out all the systems.
Yep.
So if there was some kind of explanation that way that they managed to seal a bunch of the corridors and stuff up, fine, but there's no explanation. So
yeah, let themselves down there a bit. And you got Klingon phaser as well. Discovery Klingon phaser that the pirates using. So reads prop. Yet more Klingon teas. But yes, we get a real shot of April's butt. Was not missed.
Angel butt, yes.
Because it was a linger.
Oh yeah, they definitely lingered on that scene.
And then brutal. Oh my god! And do you think that was the Vulcan game on his desk? It was such a Vulcan game-looking game.
Oh, it does look like that.
Because that would have been such a nice like homage if he like. I was thinking he was going to like put a piece on it and it would then form, and it's like. Well, no, it's like he's actually quite clever. It's just he hides it. I thought it would be a nice touch.
This is a great conversation with Pike, though. This whole defiant captain drama is getting old, sad, and hits him. And he even talks here about his jawline. Far be it for me to wreck somebody's great jawline, but and here Pike is already sowing the seeds of mistrust by saying, "Oh, she's the smart one." So he's already kind of working on that, which is great. But then he throws the gruel in his face. He's like, "Really? Did you guys eat this?" And the look on the woman's face is like, "Yeah, this is not good." But he says, "Take care of my people. Give them water and food, and I will, your crew could use a good meal. I'll cook for them, and then I'll give you the codes because this is all about getting the command codes for the Enterprise." So.
Yeah, it's a fun little scene. I can't help but think every creature now is a Klingon because that green guy feels like a lot like the Discovery Klingons, and that's a problem that it keeps having villains that look like what they shouldn't look like. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that could easily be another Klingon, just not. Just saying.
It's one of the Krill. It's from Orville.
But yeah, food, the spice pudding was fun. Just it's a bit on the nose. I wish I had a bit more of a organic way of showing this work together, but it's a fun means to an end, and not something we've ever seen before. I don't think the let me feed the crew in submission.
Yeah, I'm not going to poison the food or put laxatives in it or knockout pills or anything. No.
just going to cook them a good meal. Although I did find it odd, though, that every race has different taste buds. To find a meal that suits them all is pretty much impossible. We have a scene with that in TNG where, everyone hates the food except Worf, etc. So, I get the joke, but it's probably impossible anyway. Just saying.
It's funny because when I was thinking that during that scene is where it looks like he's serving chili. That's what he made. And I'm like, how spicy do you make his chili? Because you can either go spicy if everybody loves the spice, or you go very bland, and then people can add their own spices. So I was thinking the spice thing too, as far as flavor goes, but not quite in the same way you were. That's funny. Yeah, because I can't make spicy chili here because I'm really the only one who likes spicy. So I have to make like regular chili, and then I have to add my stuff later. So
you mean just flavorful chili rather than spicy chili? Because I'd rather flavorful chili than spicy chili, because one has flavor.
That was flavorful.
No,
like
but
a little bit of spice.
The non-spice has more flavor because you're not getting spice that takes over. Spice just kills flavor. Often.
You can have spice. You can have flavorful spicy. There's flavorful spicy, and then there's burn your face off spicy, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Yes.
So
I had some curry when the team was here, and Nim didn't warn me how spicy it was, and my face just burned. It's like, well, there's no flavour here whatsoever, is there? It's just hot for the sake of hot. I know it's not on my tolerance level, but like you shouldn't have to, be eating curry for 30 years to appreciate the flavour if it's just gonna. But then again, we have salty. They don't necessarily appreciate because it's too subtle, etc., etc.
I love salty. Anyway, then we get Nurse Chapel bitching and complaining how hard it is to send a signal.
Fair reference.
A simple SOS, she says. But it turns out the system's locked down, and then she gets caught. And you can see her tattoos. I think they're the actress's tattoos.
Yes, I noted that.
Which I don't think are in the next scene when she turns around.
Yeah, I didn't notice them at any other point, but they were visible here. And they're not Chapel's tattoos, so maybe they just ran out of time to hide them? Because I've never seen her have them before.
I thought they were Chapel's tattoos. I thought there was going to be a story behind them, like she was some reason for them. But yeah, I think I've read online that they're the actresses. They just didn't remove them. So, I don't know. Small thing, but very noticeable with a white background and white uniform.
Yeah,
and white hair.
Not a small thing. They're big because people don't have tattoos in the future, really. So that we know of, obviously. But that's great. Kirk has 15 tramp stamps. Great, thanks for the retcon. But this actually was a great meta commentary because there should be, despite controls being locked, we can all call the police on our phones, even if it's not our phone or whatever, because there's just default overrides. There should be an override to distress beacon, because the people that taken over the ship aren't have that. So that I thought was actually a really clever, cognizant joke. So good job on the joke.
Yeah, even locking the systems out, you should be able to send a Federation frequency distress signal. Not necessarily to alert your people where to come, but just a Federation frequency. Yes, absolutely.
And Mark does point out that tattoo removal will be trivial. Yes, having and removing would take minutes, but then have a bit of joke that she had the tattoos out for that week or something.
Well, you can get temporary tattoos now that last for like 2 weeks, which some people get. So, yeah.
But yeah, she's not technically armed, but takes out the first guy.
Hypospray, and later when they show up in engineering, she points the hypospray out.
That was funny.
That's hilarious, man.
They even had the sound of it cocking, even though
loading a cylinder.
Yeah, they committed that bit. I liked this a lot, except the second guy hasn't even got his gun charged. They should have edited that better. It feels so lazy. It's like, no, they're both marauding pirates. They're both ready to shoot, but they need to Chapel 2 extra seconds to get over there. Bad edit, bad choice. Should have been done better. But it's already, how is this untrained nurse with no tactical experience able to take down 2 death killer mercenaries? It's like, well, she can't, so we'll contrive it a little bit. It's like, it's fine, just don't think about it. But she plays it off so well, so. I don't know why she didn't grab phasers, though. I guess if she had, there'd be no phasers for Spock later, but she knew where the phasers were in sickbay. Like, get phasers. Yeah. If you're in sickbay, you should know where the armory is. You can clearly Jeffrey's tube around the ship easily. So, there's no reason for her not to have a phaser. And for her, and the likelihood of having a hyperspray with knockout drugs means she probably actually had to choose that, which means she had options of other tech. So, it's there for a joke. Should have had a phaser as well. I should have had to drop the phaser and then use a hyperspray. Would have been funnier.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I love the next scene of Pike kind of playing this guy. He's like,
yeah,
you're enemies can compliment each other. You can say that you like the fruit. It's fine. You're more intelligent than this. Think of what you can do now. You've got not only the flagship, it's not, but you got the ship, and also us. I mean, you could, how are you going to play this? And he mentions the Klingons. He sees the look from the lady, and then he uses that as a in to kind of say, "Oh, you people like you don't make deals with the Klingons, because
Gingers or Orions."
Yeah. Well, but yeah, pirates. I think you meant, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, I thought it meant Orions actually, but
no, it was great, and it builds those seeds of mistrust, which we find out later. Was the whole plan. So great scene with Pike. I love Pike's expressions, his reactions to things. He's got such an expressionful face. It plays out so well.
For me, this feels like a scene that Anson said, "Can we make this scene longer? Having fun, in a good way. It doesn't need to be this long or this elaborate, but it just works in this context. And the way it's shot is better. The chemistry is better. It's very slow, nice pace. He's still adding random spices to a meal he's already finished just because lol.
Yeah, he's just smelling all the spices. We're gonna make this better.
And also the just the pure visual of him wearing a full tactical assault garb
with an apron.
With an apron. It's he's a fully hermetically sealed tactical suit. Apron. That's a good. It's never shown. It's never highlighted, but it's a fun gag.
Yeah.
It's a really fun gag, and I appreciate all the thought in this scene. They just had fun with it, and you can just feel it. So, good job. And yes, first real reference to the Klingons. Obviously, we know season 2, so laying in seeds. But it does make you wonder. Well, let's see Klingons. We want to see properly done Klingons. How can this show do Klingons? And guys, you haven't had a super chat for a while, so put in your thoughts down below. We assume that these shows would get lots of interest, but for some reason they're not. I don't know why Stranger Worlds isn't getting interest like everyone predicted, but we're still here. So support us if you can.
If you're watching after the fact, this isn't live, hit that super thanks. It's a good time to do that now.
It is.
Yeah. And hit like, everybody. We're at 90 likes. We're 10 away from 100. Let's get there. We have more than 100 people watching, so it should be very easy to do. But yeah, super chat, your thoughts. We want to hear them. And we need the super chats.
Yes.
We're the pirates. We need to raid your super chat stores. So send us your super chats. Or we'll come to your house and we'll steal all your stuff.
And your super chats can make that possible.
No, prevent it from happening. That's what I'm saying. Super chat, and we won't do that. See, Matthew DeFritas gets it, $5. I think we're going to get more background on the Star Trek 5 line. After all of these years, you finally caught up with me. Yes, absolutely. That's what I mean. There's going to be hopefully a good episode with Cybok and Spock. And we'll get some more context. He asked him to join him years ago, and yeah, there's a lot of potential there.
I really need there to be one.
Yeah, I know you do.
Just because, don't waste him, He's not an embarrassment, he's an opportunity.
Alright, so back in sickbay, he heals Aspen, that's her name. Her fake name, but...
Well, the doctor that they marooned is his name.
Yeah. She says, should we get to the escape pods? And he's like, we can't leave a ship like this, here, abandoned. So, no, we got to retake the ship. And he hands her a phaser. And she's like, I'm not a fighter.
Because my husband died.
Yes.
It feels a little bit...
And we find out that he was a Vulcan who skipped Kolinar.
Yes. I wish the scene was a bit more subtexty. It's just the second half that means anything. But again, you're really not meant to see the twist coming, so this escape is very antithetical. But this bit seems true, though. Data the Vulcan died, like I say, skipped Kolinar, and he thinks the logic is what got them killed, which I can see also being real in the emotions. I don't want a logical Vulcan, I want Cybok, who is emotionally full.
Next scene's great. They return Pike to the cage. He's like, "Hey guys, good news! I think I got them to consider selling us to the Klingons. Are you sure he's okay? I don't know. Let me check this thing." It's like, no, it's okay. And then we get the whole, they know each other so well. Alpha Braga 4. Oh yeah. Rated for starting a mutiny.
Now I know you have a personal
problem with that. I do, except in this case.
Okay.
It's a captain and his first officer.
Okay.
I just hate when it's like random people that always have a thing, like Burnham.
Okay.
Book. Remember this incident? Remember this? And it's every 5 minutes for 3 episodes. It's like seriously, just shut up.
Good.
Every once in a while, it's fine, and with a captain and commander, absolutely fine.
Okay. Excellent. I just wanted to be sure, Stuart.
Yep, I knew you were going to ask me that when I first saw it. I'm like, I like it in this context. I was going to bring it up for sure.
Good. Good.
Mark Lawrence, $5. It almost seems like they are setting up Cybok to be the villain of season 2. That zoom-in shot of him from behind gave me that feeling. Yeah, I can see that, or at least going to be in another episode. Yeah.
Yeah, villain's a tricky one, but worthwhile, meaningful.
Antagonist.
Yes, or foil at least.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see depth. You know. Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a scene where he steals the Enterprise. I'm sure that's going to be a thing.
Oh, maybe that explains how he steals it so easily the next time, because he's done it once already. Yeah. I remembered where all the things were.
And I planted a little virus years ago.
Ooh. Exactly 27.2 years' time. I'll take out it again. Yeah. That'd be silly, but it would be fun, Stuart.
Yes. Then we get engineering, and we keep hearing access denied, access denied. You think the pirates are trying to get into the systems? No.
Or Hemmer.
Yeah.
But no.
He's not even on the floor. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love when she holds up the hypo spray. That's just hilarious.
Yeah, that was well played.
And Spock enters his override codes, asks Angel to check on the transporter systems, and all of a sudden it tells Chapel to send a distress signal, which she gets immediately locked out of, and then the dual phaser wield. And the reveal, oh my god, she's the bad guy, Captain Angel.
Yes.
The Serene Squall is her ship.
Yes. This is a fair scene. It's very pacey, which helps. I did notice that the camera, the way it's suddenly filmed differently when before the reveal happens. It's very subtle, but although boy, the fact that Angel can work out the controls enough to reroute everything in 5 seconds. Because I remember it being more time in the first watch, but it's instant in the second watch. So, well, I guess in fairness, I was wondering. I don't know if you thought this, Stuart, but once you watch it the first time, the second time, while they were playing that loud music in the quarters, I thought it was because they were doing either secret meetings or secret stuff. So if that was the time they would look at the consoles of how to redirect, that would make sense to me. And then music's just a cover. Would that make sense, do you think?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Because you wouldn't just know innately Federation Starship control interfaces.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah.
Sure. Because it takes 5 seconds. It's like 3 button presses. It shouldn't be that easy.
Well, Spock's not the first officer at this point either, so how many bridge crew have override codes? Probably all of them. But
well, he's head of science. I would assume they'll give him special ability. Division lead.
Yeah, but
no, I agree. But it's fun to see him be Spock, like classic Spock almost, which is nice.
Aeon throws in 279 or 280 Canadian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you hear hints of Horner in this episode? Yes, there was some Star Trek V type music when they were running through the corridors. They kind of got a little sense of some of that music.
It felt a bit different, but I wouldn't say I noticed it specifically.
And Shane throws in $5 and then says, "Here is where Hemmer is sorely missed. I expected him to burst out of a side panel and rescue them." Yes. I agree. Considering he's blind, he doesn't need to, he can sense what's going on, I'm sure.
And some great normal comments. Stern Vol countered, how would that work? Well, Cybok took over the A, which is a different ship. Although I thought he was meaning in terms of the command codes. Well, I mean, the A is not that different. It is very different.
They could have transferred some of the stuff over. Who knows?
And then NZ Fade. How does mutiny work? Spock could override the captain and number one. How does that work then? Well, I assume it would be she was able to access a default which would allow other people to counteract. There's probably mutiny-proof ones where all codes get blocked versus any command codes are allowed.
Yeah.
For that very eventuality, I would assume.
You want your bridge crew to be able to retake the ship.
Yeah. Especially when you've got 200...
Your department heads. Your department heads should all have codes that can do that.
And in fairness, the computer should know who's left on the ship, and they said ranking officer. So an ensign's a ranking officer. So it just needs to be that person. So the computer needs to know that any officer who is in charge, in theory, should be able to do it from any place of the ship. Otherwise, you're wasting retake control ability, which you need.
Yes.
So, yeah. Oh, and yeah, Jerry didn't do Star Trek 5, so Jerry did not.
I got Star Trek 5 hints here and there.
So you disagree with Aeon for Horner?
Sure.
Yes, but yeah, good twist, good reveal. Makes too much sense once you see it, which is kind of fun. And then the totally different characterization, totally different vibe.
But she's still great. People say she didn't play a good villain. I totally disagree.
What?
I love the way she's kind of playful and totally in control of the situation. Feels like she.
See, that's why it works because
exactly.
Because Angel knows that Pike is on the other ship, which is warping away towards Klingon space. Because obviously their captain's going to keep her in the chain of command. So Angel's there with 20 people on the Federation flagship in her own space with a crew. What's not to be confident about? That's the context. Even to got the beam out clause at the end. There's a confidence here that's super fun. I will say though that I thought the firing phase was a bit gimmicky because where the hell are those phasers coming from? Because there's one dual emitter at the bottom, two at the side, but you can only shoot one sideways, otherwise they'd shoot each other. But there's four at the front, so I think the VFX person didn't realize how many phasers there were, because... Yeah. That's not how...
No, it makes sense. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
There should be two in the middle and one either, and if you want to do four.
One on each side, yeah.
Yeah. Or two higher, but there isn't. So they got the... Again, VFX Bill made a mistake. And it just feels lackluster. They're in an asteroid field. A, where are the asteroids? B, Angel being like, have fun! Pew! Oh, it's so fun! No, it's not. It's like shooting in a field. It doesn't mean anything. You like...
Just want to make sure they have control over them.
The disconnect between the non-cool thing they did versus, whoo, the fun! No, you've got your own phases. It's not that fun. Just a stupid moment of they didn't think what they were doing properly there.
And here's the whole reveal of I didn't come for the ship, I came for you.
Double twist!
I just need you to be you.
And stay here.
What does that mean? First time watching, I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, this point I was definitely like, oh, it's Cybok. I was like, oh no, this is gonna be Cybok. Like too many other clues came together. It being Spock, I was like 70% sure at this point. That's what I would do. And this is quite early on, so I was like waiting for this moment. So I was having fun with it.
Then we get the Stawn reveal. There's a subspace message for T'Pring from the Enterprise.
Thank you, future husband. What?
She does say Stawn, yeah.
What? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's the most unnecessary scene.
It's not though.
But it's not though. Oh, it's so sad because if he's been working the entire time, this is her main job. I mean, they've been work buddies and they build a chemistry when long distance, and he falls for her. It's nice. It's sad. It's a ballsy move. I like it. It's so subtle. The way she says "stod" means nothing. There's no inclination.
Yep.
Although again, real-time communication. You just said you couldn't do that. Vulcans are Federation citizens. All their ships in Federation space. All their stations in Federation space. This should not be possible. Now, if they'd had a warp to close distance, they'd be fine. But they broke their own rules already. Maybe if you threw but even if you threw the communication beacons, that's not the problem. The problem is the distance between the beacons and them. Mm-hmm. The beacons were to keep the 2 days, not to give them speedier transmission. So this doesn't make sense.
Yep.
It's dumb.
Yep.
It's broken.
Yep. But here's the whole T'Pring, nice to meet you.
You're so hot.
Yeah,
Her first line is great.
Yeah. And hot for a prison guard. This is his rehabilitation center. Yeah, whatever.
Which again is needed because you don't necessarily think it's a prison until they say it. That's another level of subtext that I picked up on. It's like, oh yeah, they think it was a prison.
And here she says, you're ironically you're holding a Vulcan named Zavarius.
Great name.
Yeah, and I've got Spock here, and you're responsible for him. I love that because you're bonded ritually to him, so you're responsible for him. That makes him your responsibility. I love that. So here, release this guy, and I'll make sure that Spock gets back to you. Very easy.
And I love this as well because I was again mentally in Cybok territory, so the fact that Angel knows all about the marital law of Vulcans, it doesn't come across as anything except I've had these conversations, I know these rules, these bloody Vulcans what I've heard of. It's so organic. I thought that was great. And you're sort of learning more about it as well, which I like.
Yeah, and even Spock saying she's not going to fall for this. Vulcans aren't swayed by emotion. And just like, I've been swaying you all day with emotions. Oh, the poor colonist. Tragic love.
It is a bit like double dumbass on you. It's like, dude, come on. Which, again, great conversation. Cybok prepped her, got them ready. It's over the top, but again, they're in control, so they're having fun with it. And I like Spock's like, shit, you're right. It's so knowing. No, it's very... And this is why I like bottle shows, because they're on the bridge, but it doesn't matter where they are. It's all about dialogue and the pacing and it's cheap, it's fun, it's good, it's effective. Yeah.
Then we get they're serving the prisoners gruel, and that they're having a loud conversation behind this lady about them going to see the Klingons, going to be sold to the Klingons. And does he even have what it takes to negotiate with the Klingons? And then she turns around. She's not even the captain. Oh, wow. It doesn't really matter now, does it? If he's willing to unilaterally make decisions like this, who's going to, look after your crew? You seem to care about this crew. And if you need help, hey, we got a whole cell full of people that can help you out. It was very well done.
Yeah, it was pretty... It again a little bit not contrived, but it's a little bit. Feels unnecessary after you get the context of later sequences. Like you don't need this stuff, but it is still fun to see.
Yeah,
and I like
fun sequence.
And I like the captain, not captain. It's like, well, we know the audience, but they don't go into it. There's no. Yeah, it works well, and it's a good team interaction. No, it's good. Now, one of the people in the chat just did say that maybe part of this plan they picked where the colonists were lost near the Vulcan colony, which is possible, especially if you want the prisoner if you want to grab Cybok. My issue with that is that if we explicitly have a scene at the start where T'Pring's saying the distance sucks, if she's 20 minutes warp away, they're going to go hang out. Let's be honest. Like, Pike would if they're that close, which they are that close, you're not distancing. You can make, there could be a reason she could get 50, a day off and go see him. So that doesn't really work either.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
Vulcan ship warps in. Instantly.
And we don't ever see it again, because we don't need that design anymore.
The communication, not only did she have to load up onto the ship, get the ship prepped for launch or whatever, beamed aboard, whatever, and then warp there. It's instantly. They're all still standing on the bridge. Like you said, they weren't standing there for 3 days. So
she's maybe 20 minutes away at warp of the first ship she has.
Yeah.
Totally illogical. Totally illogical. Yeah. And also, I was confused because Angel said, "Give me the prisoner," which would imply Cybok is on the ship. Because there's no point to bring Cybok.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
However, later on, Angel says, "Fuck it, destroy the ship." which would kill Cybok, which would defeat the purpose of what they're doing. So, yeah. But also, Angel also says, or Pring says, I'll give you the transporter codes to his cell, which could either be the ship or the planet. But why the hell would Pring come without Cybok? It doesn't make sense. There's a disconnect there. Because Angel wouldn't kill Cybok for any reason, just to be pissy at Pring. Like, it says destroy that ship. So there's a slight stupidity at the last couple of scenes. I guess the writer just didn't need one more draft.
Well, they knew that they were going to be locked out of weapons immediately, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah, but Angel's smarter than killing a possible husband that they've just risked all this for.
It's true.
I mean, yes, you could tell there's only one Vulcan on board, but then you'd call her out for that, saying, where's Cybok? Oh, I didn't bring him, why not? Like, Spring was obviously ready to... Like, what's the point? It says, take Spock to the transporter room and I'll beam him over. Well, for Cybok. So it's a bit dumb. There's a lack of logic here. I guess I just didn't notice the plot hole.
Anyway, this is where Spock says, I've deduced who this prisoner is. So just forgive me for anything I'm about to do.
Yeah, I like how Chapel's allowed after they knock out Spock. The stun is the least stun possible. Because they're all just still standing there, so it must be like stun 0.1. It's so meaningless, it just knocks them out for a few seconds. And why is Chapel allowed all the medical gear? She didn't have it in any other scene.
It's true.
Where did she get this from? Why would they let... If it's stun, you know stun's not going to do anything to them except stun them. Why would she be allowed to grab medical stuff from on the bridge? She wouldn't. So, also doesn't make much sense. And given the fact that he goes straight to the view screen and talks like nothing happened, wasted moment. Like, this would have been smarter if Pring was at warp and... You know what I mean? There was a time jump there. But there's a few stupid moments here that just don't work because... I guess I didn't think them through properly, I guess.
Eric asked a good question. Was Angel under the control or influence of Cybok? Possibly. We're not sure if he's got that let me experience your pain thing yet down. This is a good 28 years before Star Trek V, so it's hard to say.
I mean, if Cybok's in prison, I always got the sense he needed a proximity to convert. So, and guys, we are $1 away from our minimum with... It's not much of the episode left, which is really disappointing, guys. I mean, we love you all, but boy, if you can't pay rent, guys, it's going to make everything problematic going forwards, because this is a bad sign of things to come. So, need your support, guys.
Indeed, we do.
Yes.
Do you want to end this poll?
Yes.
122 votes. So if you didn't know TOS, would you be Pring or Chapel? End up with Spock, and Chapel wins with 57%.
Which is not much for a margin, though. In fairness,
no.
It was a lot. It was 80%, 20, and then it kind of scooped up. So
there should have been a third option of going up both, because that would have been fun.
Or fourth option, Arrrrr, or something. So are we JJing this? But yes, but I'm happy with that because I will take Pring. I voted Pring because she's great.
I would have voted Chapel, personally. So yeah, this is the whole follow my lead thing, and he basically tells Pring that he's been having... Well, Chapel jumps in because she clues into what is happening and says, yeah, we're having an affair. And then there's the kiss, which Chapel looks very doe-eyed, and it's just so cute. It's a great scene. I love it on multiple levels, and Angel's like, seriously, this is just a ruse. You should come over here and you can straighten this out. And then they get the kiss, and then they get the debonding ritual. Yeah, I mean, good play on Spock's part, but I think he really thought that this was it for him and Pring because of this. I don't know. Ooh, we got a new. Do you think Captain Angel was a good villain? Well acted and interesting. Yes, great villain. Nah, didn't work for me. Good poll.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favourite scenes in the entire season so far, because it's so well done, and it's so different both times. The first time, because Vulcans can't lie, T'Pring buys it, and so to see the heartbreak on her face, but also the, wow, you're clever, Spock, but also goodbye, is so emotional. It hit me in all of the steely faced feels, and I've never seen this before. This de-wedding of I is beautiful in its own sad way, and knowing that I wish we'd seen her just warp out, like to finish the visual, and Angel would be like, she actually left. Fuck's sake! But because it escalates so beautifully, even Angel's like, oh god damn it, they're committing. Gah! Beautiful. Second viewing though, knowing T'Pring is smart enough to know it's not real, is also beautiful, because then they're giving a performance, and T'Pring's like, damn, my future husband's smart, I can buy into this, because we can always get re-engaged, that's not the end of the world, because they can't lie, so I can de-engage you for 20 seconds, that's fine. But the power that plays more clever is really clever. It's a very well played thing. But also, again, note the lying. Spock doesn't get to finish, I've cheated on you, because he can't lie. Chapel stops him, and she never says, it's very careful in what they don't say, so they keep those logic rules very well, but it's all in the face. I mean, the face is just so well done by all of them. And yes, the moment of the kiss where suddenly the Ghostman's kiss with the arms sort of grabbing each other. That's when the tongues come out. It's like the passion comes in. And then suddenly Spock needs a pillow for the next part of the communication. It's like... And the fact that Angel's just like, you're lying! They're lying!
She says, to hell with it, destroy that ship.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense.
Shield weapons are down, and shields are down too.
Cybok's meant to be the...
Andrew S.
Right up to the point. It's really good.
Andrew S. shows in $5, so thank you so much. Absolutely love that the show may have picked up its first recurring villain. Angel was excellent.
And yes, Eric,
vote on the poll if you haven't.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I thought this random front guy that says about the shields just felt like he was like a producer that wanted a cameo. His acting is really just guy off the street. Don't know if you caught that.
Yeah. But they're supposed to be bumbling idiots. Like, they're just hired
Are they?
help.
I mean, they took over the Enterprise.
They're just hired help. They're just
they took over the Enterprise,
They're that doesn't matter.
Took over the Federation flagship.
They're just guys that latched onto this pirate crew. They're just...
See, I really wish we'd got more Cybok in this episode, because the vibe almost is like the Cybok cult, which I think was intentional as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
But that was funny, and suddenly when you cut to the thing warping in, firing a shot, taking them out, pretty much. I just love that callback to Star Trek 2. That yes, we have codes for our own ship. Of course we do. Like, that's part of the process. So they're just able to... It's very easy, but because it links in, it feels right. So good job them for balancing that, because, boy, it's super easy.
And the whole, I'm only going to say this once. Get out of my chair.
Which she
Get the
doesn't.
hell out of my chair.
I knew I was going to say that, though. It's so choreographed, I love it.
And then fire to disable impulse, but gently. And then she fires 4 shots, 2 to each warp nacelle. Like I said in my other review, or our other review, would have been great if 2 of them glanced off the back of the saucer to hit the impulse deck. But anyway.
Yet another goof, because they don't hit the impulse. And also Pike says, impulse thrusters.
Yes.
Which they're not. They're different things. And there are thrusters on the warp nacelles, but they're not impulse.
No, they're reaction control.
Yeah. So again, VFX goof, script goof. I mean, they've done so well the rest of the season, but, they... Guys, come on. Shoot the impulse. I mean, I know the graphic shows hitting the impulse, but they don't. And these systems aren't interconnected, because that would be dangerous. You want... They're the 2 most important systems, so you want redundancy.
They are in the refit. You've got the impulse control crystal, which leads down to the main warp core, which works horizontal, so they are connected there. Here, maybe not so much, but...
Well, no, they're both controlled. They're both connected to the warp core. They're not connected to each other.
In the refit, they are.
Through the warp core, though, not the systems. They're separate from each other, physically. If you shoot the warp nacelles, the impulse isn't going down, and vice versa.
In the refit, it definitely could.
Well, that's a bad
you get
design.
Feedback. Like, yeah, you could. Because you got the main warp core, the horizontal one, and then there's the impulse control crystal one that goes straight up and meets it in the secondary hull. So theoretically, if you hit the warp nacelle, it could feed back through the pylon, hit the main warp core. And
but that's different though, isn't it? You're saying if the warp core is damaged, it disables both systems. But that's not the systems. That's the warp core, not the warp nacelles.
Yes.
So there's a different.
I'm saying if a warp nacelle gets hit, it could get feedback down through the struts into the core.
That's just the core then. That's worse.
I'm just saying. Don't play devil's advocate.
Okay. But shoot gently is a funny line.
Oh, and did you notice there's a mouse cursor on the screen? Fuck me. On the damage screen, there's a mouse cursor on the right-hand side. I mean, that's happened in TNG before.
Oh, God.
That's awful. I just noticed that.
And that's the easiest thing to remove digitally.
I don't know if you can zoom in on it for the audience, but it is worth pointing out. I just noticed it. Oh, my God.
So this episode does have the most just glaring goofs that are just pure wrong. Ha! Well done, Stuart. This ship powered by Windows 26. Woohoo!
But I love the whole, I said gently. What does firing gently even mean?
Which is a great line. And then Spock's like, so, you can't move, you can't fire. Surrender? And Angel's like, well. Cybok said you were clever without saying Cybok, and then F's off. Which is quite cool.
Yep. A little transporter necklace leaves everybody there. All of her crew. And
I'm thank God they'd introduced the shuttle, her shuttle earlier, because side to side like this is so dangerous, but the ship is very, very close, so it's fine, and clearly it's staying in transporter range, which is also why asteroid field, because you can't be hiding in deep space. But yeah, we get the line of, always talks about you, which is at that point, I'm like, oh, it's got to be Cybok. I was already pretty convinced, but I'm like, yes, my idea.
Yeah, the mouse cursors happened on TNG, Voyager, and Enterprise. You can notice it occasionally. But anyway, we're going to beam people over, and Pike's like, before you do, could you maybe get us out of here first? We kind of took over the bridge a little prematurely, and there's still like a mutiny going on, so please.
Which gives me very much Insurrection vibes of them barrening on the...
I can also picture Kirk saying the exact same thing in the exact same way. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then we get the Arrrrr, mateys. If we ever catch Angel, we should make her walk the blink. Make them walk the blink. Arrrrr.
Skip.
Please.
Pure cringe. Skip. But then Real to Pring comes aboard, and since they're at warp, you would think someone would tell him she came aboard, because you can't beam while at warp most of the time. Like, why does she keep surprising him? He's Chief Science Officer. But he didn't know she was coming. She's like, thank you for coming, I didn't know if you were going to come. And I love how her steely face is the exact same as a Motionful face. You can't tell if she's there to piss on him or well, that could be a good thing. But the vibe is, it's such a great conversation, because she's so like, no, it's fine, you had to do what you had to do. It was a very smart move. I fancy you more now. And he's like, oh shit, okay, great. I think I fancy you more too. The subtext here is just dripping with interpretation, but no, they make up. They're going to rebond later after they rebond now. Boutricker. Wow. But I was waiting for this moment when they kiss for her to say, now, Spock, kiss me like the human side would. And then it's like not as passionate as the other kiss, which was like for realsies. But obviously Vulcans don't kiss with emotion the same way, so it's fine. But I was kind of waiting for that payoff. But they wanted a nice cleaner ending, which I appreciate, because I like that they're more together than they could be. But it's like, yes, go team.
It's time for a rebonding ritual. And then we get the chapel scene, which is the same thing, essentially. She's like, Vulcans are good to be in a relationship with because you know that they're never going to cheat on you or lie to you. So I knew for a fact that you weren't interested in me. And just the look on Spock's face makes me think that he does have some kind of feelings, which he was getting ready to admit to Pring on the bridge before Chapel jumped in and said we're having an affair, because he can't lie. So he said, I've been indulging my human half a little too much, and he was about to say something, and Chapel like scoots in.
I never thought that.
Having an affair. I think she might have known that something was going on there, and she didn't want him to admit the truth. But anyway.
But that's such a leap though from the earlier scene.
Yeah, but the way she jumps in and the look on his face, knowing that he can't technically lie.
But that's what I think he's doing. I think he's trying to work out a way of saying it without saying it. And she's like, well, I can just lie.
Yeah, and the fact that she says, I know you can't lie very well. It's not your strong suit. So I did what I could.
Yes.
So.
But it's a weird scene how, like, intimate her acting is. She's like, well, I totally would date you if you didn't have a girlfriend. Which is basically what she says as well. It's a weird scene, and Spock's like, yes, but I do have a girlfriend. It's a weird scene. It's just, it feels like a season 2 after this being an arc sort of storyline. Like it's slightly jumping the shark. I like it, but it just feels a little bit out of place for the build-up.
And then he spills the beans and talks all about Cybok to her, tells her everything, like it's a half-brother.
No secret, I guess, because it's said. Which I kind of like. I was waiting for him to say...
Which I can see her not telling anybody, though, so it's not like, why didn't Kirk know about it? People were making that argument. He told her in confidence, she just kept it to herself. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're going to talk about your science officer's half-brother randomly. I mean, you're going to talk about the sister that had a mutiny, maybe, but no, I was expecting him to say, I do not know who Zephyrius is. I guess he can't lie, but some sort of just half lie. But the fact he blurts out is really surprising, because it changes the game. Like, well, what can he say? What can't he say? Well, he does say, I was told to never meet him at any costs. So what does that mean? It's a weird thing for a Vulcan to say.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was someone I was told to avoid at all costs.
That's a very weird way of phrasing that.
Yeah.
And Spock is an inquisitive man. You'd think he'd be like, well, why? Let me meet him. To see why I should never meet him at all costs.
Oliver Lavery Farag throws in £5.
Thanks much.
Visual effects artist says, shall I remove the mouse cursor?
Yes.
Visual effects supervisor answers, nah, no one will notice. Enter Trekyards. Zoom in, Sam!
Yes. Yeah, I felt they were rushed on this one. They made a few more mistakes than normal, so.
Then we get the reveal of the back of Cybok's head.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
And it's a good, like, sort of look-alike, in as abstract as it is. I was waiting for the turn. It's even less informative than Luke Skywalker. It almost has the same vibe as well, cloak-wise. But, I mean, it could just be the same sort of non-reveal as we got in Suicide Squad, where we see the Harley Quinn, like, hit the door once, and then, or, one of the other characters, I can't remember who it was, but, like, a moment, Arrow. It's like, well, they are here technically, but not really. So we might not see Cybok in season 1 left. I really hope he is. But it's once you commit to this, it's kind of the biggest story of the season. No other story is going to compare. But also, it's so far back they can do whatever they want. So I'm very excited about the possibility of Cybok, and at least they went all in. But the vibe of this sort of sub-cell feels like he's in like extra confinement. Because he has a dedicated cell, although I don't think that's necessarily a force field. So is he in voluntary confinement? Is he? Oh no, there's light fixtures. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. What is a Vulcan prison? Who knows? But yes. Boom, 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 boom. There he is. Wowza. I was right. Huzzah.
That's the end of the episode, guys.
It is.
We need more super chats. We need about $80 more, if possible. So this is your time.
For our minimum, like the minimum amount to keep going.
It's your time to super chat in, and I will read those super chats with your scores when we finish giving our scores. So super chat your score. We want to see it, and if you can support us and help us get to that $80 mark, that'd be awesome. So contribute what you can if you can. And we will, I will read those after the fact, and then Samuel will read all the scores in the regular chat as well. But this is the time to close out and give our final thoughts and our scores, which will be interesting. Because this is one of my favorite episodes out of this season. It's probably up in my top 3 or 4, I would imagine. So I'm going to be interested. It's going to be interesting to see where I score it, because I don't remember what I scored the other ones. So, damn. Okay, my final thoughts. If it wasn't for a few of the little niggles, like the ship getting taken over very quickly, the subspace relay 2-day thing, but then real time with Vulcan and her warping in instantly, those are kind of red flags for sure, and problems. Other than that, the mouse cursor, which I just realized, and not shooting the impulse engines. A few little things are a little bit problematic, but other than that, it's a fun episode. It's really good. It introduces Cybok, and we get to see more of Spock and Chapel. I thought it was really good, well done. Pike was on point, doing his thing as well, very, very Pike-like. And honestly, there's just a lot of good stuff in this episode, and a possible reoccurring villain / antagonist in Angel. I really appreciated the performance and both versions of her as the doctor and also as the captain. So, man, no Hammer, no Uhura. Not a huge deal when you're doing a TOS style show, though. Honestly,
minimal Ortigas, minimal La'an, almost no La'an as well.
Which, yeah, well, I mean, La'an has had a lot of time. Mbanga, I think, was just perfectly used, very McCoy-like in this episode. Sometimes McCoy didn't always get the biggest parts either in TOS episodes. So, oh my goodness, another problem I have is the ship, the Serene Squall, being basically a concrete factory. Felt very Kelvin-like, unfortunately. So it does have its problems, don't get me wrong, but overall I think the rest of the episode props those up, and it's kind of like, it's fine. They're not big sticky points for me. So score wise, I'm going to probably have to give this one a 8.4. I was originally going to go 8.7, but I think a lot of the little issues kind of dragged it down a little bit. But that being said, I really enjoyed it as an overall piece. So it's kind of hard to use the nitpicky things to drag a score down too much.
And they're not even nitpicky, they're just mistakes they made, which are easy to make. Just, you could have fixed all of them either in redubbing or fixing the VFX. They are just pure mistakes. Easy to fix. Or leave in on purpose.
So, I see some super chats coming in. That's great. Keep it up, guys. We do need to get we're down to another $50.
Getting close.
So if you can help us, please do so. We'd really appreciate it.
And put in normal scores. So I really want to read these scores and see where we are.
Yeah. And Samuel's going to give his recap and his score. So you got some time to super chat in, and then I'll read those after he's done. So.
Yeah, so for me, as we already said, this is definitely a standout this season. I think a lot of that's the Cybok connection, because it grounds it in this grander universe. Ethan gives a great performance, Angel gives a great performance. There's 2 different characters. Everyone else is used in the sort of TOS-y, one-liney way, which kind of works. It has big thematic points of broken, which are a problem, but they're so determined to get to a location at the end that they just don't want to give any screen time to problem solving, whereas other episodes they want to problem solve. That said, they've wasted probably a bit too much time early on the literally irrelevant Dr. Aspen stuff, because it's not real. But because the first time it's a generally good reveal, it works differently both times. First time it's a great second time it's like a you're lying. Ooh, maybe. There we go. So it's a different watch. Chapel stuff, interesting, really good acting. But I think the core story is so clever. I often... I like the Die Hard formula, which is, a couple of people left fighting the ship of people, but also the reveal of it's not about the ship, it's about you. Just like in Die Hard, not about the things about the money. That sort of reveal really makes it feel super small and intimate, which helps the characters. It isn't, and now I'll use a ship to take on the Federation. Whoa, ha 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 ha. That works really well. It is a bit forced in how you get the characters off the ship and stay off the ship, but they use them to have fun. They're just pure fun scenes, and that adds something. And I genuinely want to see the Orion again. I think he earned himself a second appearance. Good casting, good vibe. Although I got, for whatever reason, I thought, wouldn't it be great to hire the punk on the bus in that role? Because it'd be very similar.
Kirk Thatcher?
Yeah. Like, it's such a...
I thought the same thing. I thought he would be perfect for that role.
Yeah. You know, both shows can hire him a few weeks apart. I thought it would be really, really clever. But it is great, and I just fundamentally enjoy the grander canon vibe of it a lot, and it's really a Spock episode. We haven't got one yet, and he lives up to it fundamentally, while not being a contrived Spock or a copycat Spock or a dumb Spock. He bounces those very well. My score-wise, I said to you in our other review, it's probably in my top 3. I feel comfortable giving this an 8.9. I can't go lower than that. I think it's too good. But having so many just core scripting and VFX mistakes isn't perfect. But I enjoyed it. Really close to 9. And in our second watch, in our second retrospect, it might hit the 9 just to try and out other things. But certainly enjoyable. And this again shows how bad Discovery is as a show. Because we get stuff like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's sad that same Trek franchise in the same town, filmed at the same time, and this is leagues better. I mean, this is hitting 8s regularly. Discovery was hitting 5s and 6s and 7s.
Those were being generous a lot of times. It was based on Discovery. You know.
Yeah. Oh. Yes.
All right. To some of these super chats. Omnitographer, $2. Avast ye mateys. Grant McGregor, $20. Awesome, thank you so much. My least favorite episode, wow. But I think it might be a director's fault on this episode. The director can make a mistake and make a good actor look bad. But to quote someone I forget, better to be shit in a hit than hit in a shit. Yes. Squad, that's the thing with Angel. A lot of people either love her or hate her, so it's kind of weird. Squadra Course, $2. Hi guys, what did I miss? Just kidding. Snoopy McQueen, $5. I give Strange New World Season 1, Episode 7 a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Okay. Omnitographer, $2. This episode is now in my top 10 favorite of all Trek. Wow.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. Have you seen all of Trek? I couldn't even imagine it being anywhere on my top 50. Not for enjoyment, just there's 50 better episodes easily.
It's in the upper middle part of all Trek episodes, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's at least 20 episodes of TNG that are instantly better, and that's being very not generous to TNG. Like, yeah. I love that you think that, but I mean, there's, like, you could easily rattle off 50 other episodes that are just better in every way. Not to say this is bad, just... Wow.
Yeah.
No offense, though. Just, wow. Okay.
Matthew DeFritas, $2.
Now, that said, though, top 10 best episodes of the last 5 years.
Yes, for sure.
That is a very different equation. It would probably be top 10 of those last 5 years if you're just doing live action Trek. Well,
that's a good segue to Matthew DeFritas, $2. Easily my favorite episode of Trek since 2005. 9.8 out of 10 for him.
Wow.
Sebastian.
Well, it definitely makes Picard look worse. As well.
Yeah.
Because this is a properly done story.
Yeah. Sebastian, €5. At Trekyards, you guys going to do a close-up review of Captain Angel's outfit?
Outfit or asset?
In-depth analysis.
We'll break down the ins and outs.
Analysis.
Oh.
Grant McGregor, $5.
Thank you.
You wouldn't see this fly if Spock was a Romulan. # trust no one. And Aeon, $7.
Oh, thank you.
Pirate impression had me rolling. Very classic Trek moment. Need more of that. Really enjoyed the episode. Great breakdown, guys. Thank you so much. They had a very Popeye vibe going on with the facial expression. Arrrrr.
It was Pike having fun. It was Ant Matt having fun. It wasn't real. Like, it was just, ha ha, because we can.
Yeah. Still another $25 away, guys. So if
getting close though.
That for sure.
I mean, that you guys really brought your A game there, but 25, not very far off. That's very achievable.
If anybody wants that last super chat slot and wants to just blow it out of the water, you can do so now, or just put in $1, $2. Just try to get that slot. We'd appreciate it. So now Samuel's going to read some of the non-super chat scores.
Darth Maul 9, Gregory Mangrum 9, Chris 8.5, The Stanley 7 to 8, Chuck A 9.5, Chris 8.5, NZ Fade 7 out of 10 because of our acting, Aussie 9, Deborah 8, Grant 7.5, Eric 9, Alan 7. This show has got to have a bad episode at some point, surely. Yep, this one has some goofs, but still top Trek episode. Del Boy 5.5, saying not the best of the season for me. I mean, that would be hard to do, or anybody, you know. Like you always say, well, it's not my favourite. It's like, well, to beat everything's quite impressive anyway. So that's fair enough to anybody. Zachary 8 out of 10, no hero, no hammer, and not able to see them capture the pirate ship bridge. Yeah, that'd been kind of fun to see. How old is Spock at this time period? Late 20s?
Probably, yeah.
Mario 5, maybe even lower. Ooh. Marco 6. The Darth Eddie 9 out of 10. Ryan K 8. Dolly 9. Django 8. Aeon 7.5. So pretty close to where we are. You guys are always a little bit more generous than we are. But we talk about it for 2 hours, so, you know.
More than 2 hours. Squadra Course snipes in with $1 looking for that last super chat slot.
Yes.
So, did you get it, sir?
Because we're so close.
Yes.
We're so close.
$3 away now.
Ah.
Yeah.
But, Stuart, now is the time to talk about our Drunk Live, or not.
Yes, tomorrow. We're probably going to be starting around noon, Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, which is 5
for you.
Currently.
Yeah.
As long as I don't wake up at 2, it gives you time to do stuff. If I wake up at 2, I basically just have breakfast and get drunk with you. So, yes, so that's our normal time minus 5 hours. Or our old normal time. So this is a Drunk Yards pre-season finale Drunk Yards, which we'll see. This is our birthday joint Drunk Yards, which are normally like our biggest live of the year, which we love. It celebrates us, our legacy, show presents, and I can show some Convergence behind the scenes footage, which would be great. I can prep some of that. So tomorrow, like I said, 5. You know, as with those things, the more drunk we get is totally up to you. So if you want to put in some 50s at the start, you can get us seeing stars pretty early, and then you can
much more alcohol for it, so that's alcohol for shots.
Nice. And what's great is that you can then ask us the hard-hitting questions when we're drunk.
So tune in tomorrow for that, guys.
I just thought a funny game that we could do. You guys might have to remind us about. What if we, like I found our score charts for some of the other seasons of the new Treks, and we try and guess what our score was, and depending how close we get, we drink or not drink. Like the audience has to guess as well. Like, what did we think? Like a punishment game.
Matthew DeFritas, $5. Let's discuss the Picard angle for a sec. How does a franchise being back an original and not land, yet bring in a TOS cover band and they're killing it?
Ooh. That's a very good way of saying it.
It's serialized versus episodic, I think, in this case. Because if this episode had been a 10-episode season, just for this episode, it could have been bad. It could have been a lot of, like Pike trying to come up with a plan, and that. There would have been a lot of wastage. So.
Yeah, just a serialized needs a good story from the start. If you haven't got a good story that is properly balanced, it's going to fail, and it failed.
Mm-hmm. And that's been a great 4-parter, season 2.
Yeah, first 5, do second 5. Yeah, great. Yeah. Would have been a slam dunk probably. And
Discovery.
Well, yes, certainly. Have a big reveal in the middle 5, yeah.
Is it episodic though? Says NZ Fade. Yes, 100% it's episodic.
Yes, very much so. And it's sad because a lot of us think that Picard's good at season 2 because of the death of Thingamabobby. But that's both seasons showed the death of a legacy character, which in itself only brings all of the legacy of age that we know from all of our past. So it only benefits from doing a 30-year death. Well, that's not a credit to it. It's, well, we're going to throw out this curveball to make you care. That's a crutch. So yeah, both seasons in a row, some of the best scenes are stuff that base themselves on the rest of Legacy of Trek, and then the season themselves kind of throws it all away. So I think they know they made a bad season. I think they know. I think they're sad. I think they have all these limitations that they just couldn't overcome. I think when they had Patrick 1 day a week and COVID requirements made it a hard thing to do, and the budget had to be slashed by 50. Maybe Star Trek 5'd. They had to slash the budget by a third.
Aeon 280, still not as good as Orville, but getting close. Wouldn't know. Haven't seen this episode of Orville, and I have a first reaction to do on it later tonight, which will be at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So guys, make sure you tune in for that, so I can actually talk about Orville. Would be great tonight. Squadron Course.
It's very useful. There's the thing ready to be sent, but the internet's needed for other things.
Course,
so
$1. For the last super chat slot. But yeah.
Well, what did you think of episode 2 of Orville? Why wait for our last $12? What do you think of episode 2?
It was great. You should go watch my first reaction to it.
Ah. Can you say why you thought it was great? Because it's been out for a while, for a week. Episode 2 of Orville.
I talked about it for 2 hours, so it was fun. I wasn't really satisfied with the ending. Just how many crew are now not crew. I was very dissatisfied with that, but other than that, it was a good horror type episode and very good makeup and fun idea, fun premise. Well, please wear spacesuits in unknown alien structures. So.
This guy's $12 more. Yeah, I liked it, but I thought it was a bit boring. They're adding time, but they're not filling it with interesting stuff in the same way they could do. And the lack of jokes is making it so dull in comparison to season 1 and 2. I really miss the humor. It feels far more like a carbon copy of Star Trek rather than its own unique thing, and I'm really sad about that. Because I felt like I'd seen this episode before in Star Trek done better, and in Stargate done better. Like it didn't do the formula better than I've seen it. So why did they do it without making it unique? So I was somewhat disappointed, although I liked the aliens a lot. I thought they were a really good design, and you can tell they put real money into the costume, which tells me they're going to come back as a villain. And you don't have that big end scene, spoilers, where the guy's talking to show you they actually have like verbal communication. They're not non-thinking creatures. They have spaceships. They have conversation. Like these are aliens that are really aliens. I got the sense they're basically the Orville's version of the Borg. They infect you and convert you and turn you into them. Which I thought was, okay, cool for a season 3 villain. But the episode itself I thought was relatively mediocre, and the ending was terrible because you shouldn't go from we maybe lost 50 of our crew to let's have chill dinners in the mess hall where everyone's just chilling out normally. It's like, do you realize you got a third of your crew got killed today? Have some semblance of respect for your crew. Jesus Christ.
We can talk about this tomorrow during our Trekyards, because I gotta go.
Okay, fair enough. But disappointed in general with that episode because it just should have been shorter and more exciting.
Yeah. Just dissatisfied with the ending.
Yes.
Anyway, join us tomorrow for our
Yes.
Trekyards. We'll have a full afternoon of chatting with you guys.
Yes.
Shit-faced. So.
Excellent.
And see me tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right back with Garble. And
double excellent. So until then,
Squadron Course sniped himself with another $1, so Squadron Course is the winner.
Only $11 away, so close, and yet so far. But thanks so much, guys. Real close. So yes, see us tomorrow. Put the date in the calendar. Until then, he is Captain Foley.
He is Commander Guy.
He is. I am.